another episode of Way to Eat, and today we are discussing alcohol, moba, ubwalwa, chemical ethanol. It is actually a chemical. The pure form of alcohol is ethanol, and which we call spirit in layman's terms. 100% alcohol is used for a number of reasons, like for example cleaning of wounds, right? We use spirit whenever you have an injury, whether at the hospital, when you're about to be given an injection, they'll take that spirit or ethanol and clean the area. It's actually alcohol. But when it is consumed, unfortunately, it is not useful. It is actually a toxin. The reason really why I feel it is important that we discuss the issues around alcohol, it's basically the harm that it is causing the country, but also because we have a national policy on alcohol consumption. And so one of the policy interventions is education. You have to know. You make informed decisions, and that way we are safe. So I want you to make an informed decision as to whether you should go into drinking or continue drinking, or whether you should stop, and have valid reasons for all three options. So when we refer to alcohol in the form that is ingested, we are talking about three basic forms. We have beer, we have spirits, we have wines. Now, beers are usually lower in ethanol or alcohol in the pure form. You'll find that a standard bottle of beer, which is about 375 mils, will have about 3 to 5% or 7% alcohol. And then the stronger stuff, the spirits and the wines, will have much higher percentages. But overall, alcoholic beverages range from 3% to 50% alcohol. And then we also have the dangerous ones, which we make at our homes or different homesteads or even different communities. For example, Katata, Imbote, Lutuku, and so many other. But those are the local names that are used here in Zambia. And those are dangerous because I believe they're even more than 50%. And people, unfortunately, are consuming these alcoholic beverages in high amounts. Usually, any amount below 0.5% is considered non-alcoholic. So now the question is kombucha alcohol? I've been asked that a lot. When I take munkoyo, is it alcohol? Especially those who are not used to the African fermented drinks, they would want to know, is it really alcohol? So anything below 0.5% contains some alcohol. Yeah, 0.5% is a bit of alcohol, but it would be considered non-alcoholic. Non-alcoholic because it does not cause the harmful effects that alcohol does. Even the body does not really get alarmed by that quantity. So ideally, or generally speaking, fermented drinks like munkoyo, as well as kombucha, which is a fermented tea, is not considered an alcoholic beverage. It also contains very low amounts of sugar. Most kombuchas out there have about 75 kilocalories coming from sugar. That's about 3 to 4 teaspoons of sugar added to that, just to perhaps give it a bit of some fermentation, but not to the level that you consider it alcohol. But I do not know. Again, the market out there is very crafty. People are adulterating drinks and foods like no man's business. Enforcement has been a challenge for a number of African countries. Policymakers are finding it difficult to enforce the policies, and so we do not really know what else is added. But if truly we go by the standard of how kombucha is made or any other fermented drink, it is not to the level that it should intoxicate you. But the contraindications still apply. I like that on kombucha drinks they have indicated not for children below 12 years, not for pregnant women, not for people with immune compromised situations, and so forth. So all that needs to be followed. But generally speaking, I have consumed kombucha from time to time, and I have not felt it intoxicate me, especially if you do not wait for it to be excessively fermented. You know, where the bottle literally bulges and it looks like it's about to burst. To consume it at when it's just well fermented, it shouldn't cause you any harm. Just like I think munkoyo as well, when it's excessively fermented, it can continue to form alcohol and even go beyond 0.5%. Now, generally speaking, alcohol consumption in Zambia has been on the rise. And currently, as we speak, 3.9 liters of alcohol is consumed per person per year. That's the per capita consumption of alcohol. Of course, it's much lower than other countries, but it is still high. And when we look at the daily consumption, it's about 8.4 liters of alcohol per day, per person. That is a lot. And I'll explain why that is a problem much later. But firstly, why is it a concern? Why is alcohol consumption a concern? When alcohol enters the body really treats it like it's a toxin. just like any toxin that would enter the body, the immediate reaction is to flush it out. So as part of that process of flushing it out, it uses up a lot of nutrients. You may be wondering, okay, what has alcohol got to do with way to eat? It has nothing to do with my eating. I'm still eating okay. So why should I, as a nutritionist, be worried about your alcohol consumption? Why I'm worried about your alcohol consumption is that digestion is disturbed. You may have a good meal, you may have eaten well, but then the fact that you wash your food down with alcohol, what results is a situation where everything has to come to a standstill. So after you've eaten your food, the food is being digested, the body is doing what it knows best, and then alcohol comes in, and then all of a sudden the brain sends a message to say, yo, stop, everything must stop. Let this convoy of toxic substance pass. Otherwise it will damage me, it will damage all of you. So can you stop everything? So what happens? The liver stops working, the pancreas stops doing what it does, the stomach in the enzymes and whatnot just say, okay, food, you wait, let's deal with this first. Now, while it's still dealing with that one bottle of alcohol that you consumed, you throw in another one, and another, and another, and another. And where is the food? It's still waiting to be digested. And especially with fats, fat breakdown takes quite some time. Protein breakdown takes some time. So what happens is all that now comes to a standstill, and that's why oftentimes you see those who excessively consume alcohol or abuse alcohol would have a pot belly. Now that pot belly, my dear friends, is not a prosperity curve like many would call it. It's a curve of food that is not well digested. It's a curve of diseases waiting to happen. It's a curve of death, unfortunately, waiting to happen. And so that in itself is a concern if you're not going to be digesting your food well. What results is a condition called fatty liver. Your liver continues to accumulate fat. Since the body has said, or the brain has sent a message to say, there is alcohol in the body, we need to take it out. So stop whatever you are doing. So that fat continues to stay. But unfortunately, while you are drinking and having fun, you're also throwing in some goat meat, some peanuts, some crisps, some shima with T-bone and God knows what, right? And the body is still receiving this food, but it's saying, no, I cannot deal with food right now. There is a toxin. That now results in weight gain. It results in that pot belly, which I've said is literally a fatty liver that accumulates, and that fat now starts going to the other organs like the pancreas, the kidneys, and now the functioning, that's number 2 now, the functioning of these organs also is hampered. So fat around the heart, fat around your liver, fat around your pancreas. The pancreas is where insulin is produced, by the way, and it's the same insulin that is needed to mop out the sugar in your body. And so when there's fat around your pancreas, insulin release is also slowed down. So that's where you see, okay, someone who consumes alcohol becomes diabetic at a young age of 30, because let's be honest, alcohol consumption in this country starts as early as 15 years old. You have 10-year-olds who drink. And so imagine now, by the time that poor 10-year-old child, by the way, becomes a young adult at age 25, the liver is damaged, they are probably alcoholics, they no longer eat food and heavily rely on alcohol. So that is now alcoholism. That in itself is a problem. Your health is hampered just because of this toxin called alcohol. So remember, number 1, I said there's poor digestion, so basically food is waiting. Number 2, other organs malfunction. But secondly, also it's because the process of taking alcohol out of the system calls for a lot of nutrients to be utilized. A lot of energy needs to go into taking this thing out. Notably, today I'll speak about vitamin Bs. We have B1, B2, B3, and so different kinds. B12 as well, B6 as well, which really come into play when it comes to taking out this toxin. Now, one may argue, especially those in the breweries business, to say, but beer contains B vitamins because they use sorghum, they use millet, which are cereal grains that are very high in B vitamins. But unfortunately, the amount that the beer gives you is less than what is needed to remove this alcohol from your body. So then what are you doing? So basically you're just adding some, and then the body uses up even more, and so on and so forth. And that is why we begin to see now when someone consumes more and more alcohol, even their appearance begins to change. Their eyes starts to yellow. The white of the eye has a yellowish tinge to it, which is a sign of B12 deficiency. So basically you are losing out nutrients. You need B vitamins for a number of things: formation of nerve cells, formation of blood cells, heart functioning, and so on and so forth. There are a number of functions that the B vitamins do. Notably folate, for example, which is B9, helps to clean up. When you take food that has a lot of cholesterol, or there's a lot of cholesterol buildup in the body, it acts as that mop or sweep in your blood vessels that removes that excess cholesterol in your body. And so all that is destroyed or hampered because of excessive alcohol consumption, because now the B9, which is supposed to be cleaning your bloodstream, is busy removing the alcohol from your blood system. Also, many of us drink on an empty stomach, especially people who have aggravated alcohol abuse where food no longer means anything to them. I had a family relative who actually could not eat anymore. All they wanted was alcohol on a daily basis. Without alcohol, they could not function. When one is at that level, unfortunately, what results is the body just depending on this substance. And as the body depends on this substance, your sugar level starts to drop, and the risk of going into a coma or even dying are much higher. And that, unfortunately, is what happens to alcoholics, especially when treatment does not kick in early enough. What results is a person going into a coma or collapsing and dying, because your blood sugar levels drop and your body can no longer function on just alcohol. It exceeds the level that the body can tolerate. And by the way, alcohol is broken down in the liver, and when in the liver takes 1 hour to just remove 15 mils of alcohol. In a bottle of beer, let's say it's a 375 mils bottle, and the percentage of alcohol in that 375 mils is round about 3.5%. So if we do 3.5% of the 375 mils, I think it comes up to about, if my math is correct, around 13 mils of pure alcohol, right? Which the liver has to deal with. So 13 mils, if we round up to about 15 mils. So it will basically take you 1 hour to break down the alcohol contained in that one standard bottle of beer. Now, you tell me, let's be honest, especially those who drink. How many bottles do you take in 1 hour? And within 1 hour, probably you've had 4 bottles of alcohol. And already the liver is overwhelmed, because now you need to give it 4 hours to deal with those 4 bottles of alcohol. And that is why I hope you understand why we say, can you abstain from alcohol consumption? In the past, we used to say consume. For women, we would say 2 standard drinks of alcohol. For men, you can go up to 4 standard drinks of alcohol. And for wines, it would be 4 glasses of wine, standard glasses of wine. I think a standard glass is about 150 mils. 4 glasses for men, 2 glasses for women. And for these hard spirits, it's 25 mils. 2 tots for women, 4 tots for men per day maximum, right? Now, this is not to say, I think there was a man who asked me, look, I haven't been drinking the whole week. What's wrong with me taking the 4 bottles for Monday, the 4 bottles for Tuesday, and then I take them all on a Saturday? I'm like, no, that's not how the body works. It's what it can take care of on that day. You're actually going to harm your body worse than if you were taking them every day like that. That's what we used to say in the past. And the reason for that, I'm sure women may ask, why is it that I should take less than a man? I can do what a man can do. The reason for that is that there's an enzyme in the body that is produced when you are consuming alcohol. And the way the female body is made up, it does not produce enough of that enzyme. I don't know, ask God. For men, they produce, I think, twice more than women. When you're taking alcohol, women actually struggle a bit more with more alcohol than with men. And I know others would say, no, I know of some women who drink more than men. Yes, it is true, because over time, this enzyme actually, more and more of it is produced, because like I said, the body gets overwhelmed. It has to do something. That's the beauty about the body. It is designed to take care of us when something is wrong. So the brain will do whatever it can, send messages to say, can we take this alcohol out? But unfortunately, over time, when you keep on consuming, the body now says, okay, there is need for an enzyme now to speed up this process because we are not going to manage this. And hence that enzyme is produced. And with women who continue hammering the bottle, more and more of it is produced, maybe to the level that a man can tolerate or that a man produces. But in any case, that does not mean we need to abuse alcohol because there is an enzyme that breaks down this alcohol. No. The body can only do so much. And trust me, it will tell you to say, okay, I've done my best. I'm leaving it out to you. And when you continue doing that, it becomes a slow death. And that is why we are burying a lot of young people because of alcohol abuse. If you're going to drink, limit. Start slowing down. It's not easy to just wake up one day and stop. Others can do that. For those that can't, gradually start stopping until you finally will be able to say, you know what, actually you'll be surprised. Say, oh, today I haven't taken anything. Replace that with other activities. I know a number of us take alcohol as a depressant. You want to forget your problems, ignore the realities of your life for a while and whatnot. But truth be told is, you wake up and you still go back to the same reality. So why not just deal with the root cause? Like, seek help for whatever you're going through. Financial problems, there is help out there. Marital problems, there is help out there. You know, let's be brotherly. Let's help each other. Help is there. From your church, from your community, from your family. Seek help. A number of people have come to me to say, look, eating healthy is expensive. We don't have that kind of money. But you have money for alcohol. So the same money could have been used to buy, I don't know, some food for the family, for the children, for the younger ones. And that robs families of its much needed resources to live a healthy and happy life. And so hence my concern for alcohol. But not only that, the management of alcoholism in this country is still not at par. We are not working with the levels of alcohol consumption. We only have one hospital where there is probably a handful of medical personnel that can deal with alcoholism, which is Chainama Hospital. But then they can only do so much. This is a population of 20 million people. Chainama is overwhelmed. And so because of that, I think we need to think twice. We need to start talking about these problems more and more. And I really call on all of us out there, even within our families, churches, let's speak about it. Let's continue to talk about the dangers of alcohol in the different ways possible so that we curb this vice and help the youth actually come up with better ways of dealing with life's issues. And so with that said, I hope you learned one or two things and hoping to talk to you again some other time. Until then, bye-bye.
Way to eat. Subscribe.